The scorching heat of Sigma-9's twin suns beat down on Jay Park's battle-worn armor. Dust swirled around his boots, mixing with the metallic tang of distant explosions. Another routine peacekeeping mission, or so it was supposed to be. Jay's team had been tracking a small insurgent group across the rocky terrain for 3 days. Communication had been minimal, supplies running low and tension high. He adjusted his helmet, scanning the rocky outcroppings that could hide potential threats. The plasma bolt came without warning. A brilliant flash of blue-white energy erupted from a hidden position, catching Jay square in the chest. The impact was like being hit by a freight train. His teammates watched in horror, certain this was the end. But Jay Park wasn't going down that easily. The bolt should have vaporized most of his internal organs. Instead, it punched through his advanced carbon fiber armor, leaving a smoking hole that would have killed any other species in milliseconds. His breathing didn't even change. No scream, no dramatic collapse. Just a quick look down. Huh, Jay muttered, more annoyed than injured. He reached into a side pocket, pulling out a standard-issue medical patch. With the same casual attitude someone might use to fix a torn shirt, he slapped the patch over the wound. His team stared in disbelief. Corporal Dae-sung, his second in command, spoke first. "Sir, are you okay?" Jay chuckled. "Nothing a hot shower and some coffee won't fix." He tapped his communication device. "Control, we've got an active shooter in Sector 4, requesting air support and coordinates." The wound continued to steam slightly, the medical patch working overtime to manage what should have been a fatal injury. But to Jay, it was just another day at the office. Around him, the landscape of Sigma-9 told its own story. Massive rock formations jutted like broken teeth against the orange-tinted sky. Abandoned mining equipment scattered the terrain, remnants of a conflict that had been brewing for decades. Humans had been brought in as neutral peacekeepers, their reputation for adaptability and resilience preceding them. Jay's team represented the best of humanity's interstellar peacekeeping forces, young, trained, but not naive. They'd seen enough to know that survival wasn't about heroics but about staying calm and doing the job. "Perimeter secure," whispered Jinho, the team's scout. His thermal imaging showed multiple heat signatures clustered around a distant ridge, potential hostiles waiting for their moment. Jay's wound continued to slowly close. His body was doing what human bodies did best, adapting, healing, surviving. The plasma bolt had enough energy to cut through solid titanium. It should have been instant death. Instead, it was little more than an inconvenience for Jay Park. His team knew better than to fuss. They'd seen this before. Humans had a reputation across the galaxy. Tough, resilient, almost impossible to completely neutralize. Where other species would require months of medical intervention, humans seemed to walk off injuries that would kill entire planetary populations. "We're moving," Jay announced. No dramatics, no showing off, just a simple statement of continued mission progress. The team fell into formation, with Jay taking point. His stride was unchanged. No limp, no sign of the massive injury that would have ended any other mission, any other soldier, any other species. Just another day protecting a distant mining colony. Just another moment in humanity's ongoing story of survival. As they moved across the rocky terrain, the medical patch continued its work. Cellular regeneration kicked into overdrive. Damaged tissue would be replaced. Blood vessels would reconnect. What would be a career-ending injury for most was just a minor inconvenience for Jay Park. The universe was about to learn, again, why humans were called Deathworlders. And Jay Park? He was just thinking about the coffee waiting at the end of this mission. The medical bay of the orbital research station hummed with an electric tension. Dr. Hana Lee stared at the holographic display, her slender fingers tracing the impossible medical readings. Lieutenant Jay Park's body was rewriting everything. She thought she knew about biological survival. "This can't be real," she muttered, adjusting the scanner for the 10th time. The alien research team had assembled like vultures, each representative from different galactic species crowding around the medical terminal. Zelaxian medical analysts, with their tentacle-like appendages, clicked and chirped in their native language. Quantum biochemists from the Orion clusters leaned in, their multifaceted eyes blinking in rapid succession. Jay sat on the medical examination table, looking more bored than concerned. He scrolled through something on his personal communication device, occasionally glancing up with a hint of mild annoyance. "Your wound," Dr. Lee began, her voice trembling slightly. "It's healing at approximately 600% faster than our most advanced medical models predicted." Jay shrugged. "Is that good or bad?" The room fell silent. It was a typically human response, casual, almost dismissive of what should have been a miraculous medical phenomenon. Dr. Krell, the lead Zylaxian physician, projected a three-dimensional image of Jay's internal systems. Layers of cellular structure danced in holographic blue and green, showing tissue regeneration that defied every known medical law in the Galactic database. The plasma wound, Krell explained to his colleagues, should have completely destroyed major muscle groups, cauterized blood vessels, and caused immediate systemic collapse. His translator buzzed with a mix of scientific precision and underlying confusion. Jay looked up from his device. "Yeah, and?" The medical team exchanged glances. Humans had a reputation for resilience, but this was beyond anything they documented. The wound that would have killed thousands of species was healing like a minor scratch. Blood samples revealed even more shocking details. Jay's cellular structure contained adaptive mechanisms that could rapidly redirect metabolic resources, create emergency protein chains, and regenerate damaged tissue at an unprecedented rate. It was like his body was constantly running an advanced repair program. "Your immune response is extraordinary," Dr. Lee continued, her professional demeanor fighting against her growing excitement. "Normal species would require months of intensive treatment. You're healing in hours." Jay nodded, then asked, "Can I get some coffee?" The request was so mundane, so completely disconnected from the medical miracle unfolding around him, that several researchers actually stopped and stared. Dr. Krell's translator clicked several times, the Zylaxian equivalent of a confused laugh. "You were hit by a plasma bolt that could destroy a small spacecraft and you're asking for coffee?" "Mission isn't over," Jay responded simply. "Need to stay alert." The medical team continued their analysis. Each scan, each test revealed more about human biological adaptation. Where other species would require complete shutdown and extensive medical intervention, humans seemed to have a built-in survival mechanism that was almost impossible. Genetic markers showed multiple adaptive responses: accelerated cell division, rapid protein reconstruction, neurological pathways that could redistribute energy and manage pain at incredible efficiency. It was as if human bodies were constantly prepared for the worst possible scenario. "Fascinating," Dr. Lee whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Jay remained unchanged. No dramatics, no showing off. Just a soldier waiting to return to his mission, treating a near-fatal wound like a minor inconvenience. The Zylaxian medical team would spend months analyzing this single incident. Doctoral theses would be written. Research grants would be funded. All because of one human soldier who walked off a wound that should have been impossible to survive. As the researchers continued their analysis, Jay simply waited. His body continued its remarkable healing process, completely unaware of the scientific revolution happening around him. "So," he asked again, "about that coffee?" The room fell silent. Then, almost involuntarily, Dr. Lee found herself laughing. Humans, it seemed, would always be full of surprises. The research facility buzzed with an energy that mixed scientific curiosity and absolute bewilderment. Rows of advanced scanning equipment surrounded Jay Park, who looked more like he was waiting for a routine physical than participating in a groundbreaking medical investigation. Dr. Hana Lee spread the initial findings across a massive holographic display. Hundreds of data points danced in mid-air, telling a story that challenged everything known about biological survival. Humans, it turned out, were walking miracles. Cellular regeneration tests revealed something extraordinary. Where most species would require weeks or months of intensive treatment, Jay's body was rebuilding itself like a living machine. Damaged tissue wasn't just healing, it was improving. Muscle fibers were reconstructing with enhanced density. Nerve connections were becoming more efficient. It's like your body is constantly upgrading itself, Dr. Lee muttered, more to herself than to Jay. The lieutenant raised an eyebrow. Is that good? Good was an understatement. What they were witnessing was a biological marvel that would rewrite medical understanding across multiple star systems. Blood samples told an even more incredible story. Jay's white blood cells moved with a precision and speed that defied conventional biological models. They didn't just fight infection, they obliterated potential threats. Damaged cells weren't just repaired, they were completely reconstructed with improved functionality. The Orion biochemists, known for their advanced medical research, were losing their minds. Your metabolic rate during injury, one researcher explained, increases by 400%. Your body essentially creates its own emergency support system, redirecting nutrients, generating emergency proteins, and maintaining core functions simultaneously. Jay looked slightly confused. Sounds complicated. I just know I heal fast. That was the beauty of human biology. While alien species would spend years studying their own medical complexities, humans simply existed, adapting, surviving, moving forward. Additional tests revealed even more shocking details. Jay's genetic structure contained multiple backup systems. If one cellular repair mechanism failed, another would immediately activate. It was like having multiple emergency generators in a single biological system. Deathworld adaptation, Dr. Lee explained to her colleagues. Humans evolved on a planet with extreme conditions, constant threats, unpredictable environments. Their bodies learned to survive under impossible circumstances. The research team compared Jay's biological responses to other known species. The Xylaxian healing process was linear and predictable. The Orion regenerative systems were slow and methodical. Jay's human biology was dynamic, aggressive, almost like a living computer constantly running multiple survival programs. Pain response was another marvel. Where most species would be completely debilitated by a plasma wound, Jay's neural pathways were managing damage with incredible efficiency. His brain was essentially rewriting pain signals, allowing continued function. Your body doesn't just heal, one researcher noted. It strategizes. Jay just shrugged. Just doing my job. But it was more than just doing a job. It was a testament to human evolution. Millions of years of surviving on a planet that constantly tried to kill them had created a species of biological supercomputers. The medical team realized they were looking at more than just an individual. They were witnessing the potential of an entire species. Genetic markers showed multiple adaptive responses: accelerated cell division, rapid protein reconstruction, neurological pathways that could redistribute energy and manage stress at incredible efficiency. Imagine an entire species with these capabilities, Dr. Lee whispered to her colleagues. Jay, meanwhile, was more concerned about when he could return to his mission. The medical marvel happening around him was just another day at the office. So, he asked, breaking the scientific reverie, am I good to go? The researchers exchanged looks. How could they explain that they had just discovered something that would change medical understanding forever? How could they communicate that this wasn't just a healing process? It was a biological revolution. Jay waited, patient but eager, to return to his duty. Just another human. Just another day of surviving what should have been impossible. The interview room felt more like a cultural exchange than a scientific investigation. Jay's entire unit sat casually, their body language speaking volumes about human resilience. Dr. Hana Lee watched carefully, trying to understand the psychology behind their remarkable biological capabilities. So, she began, tell me about injuries in human military service. Dai Sung, Jay's second-in-command, chuckled. You mean like Tuesday stuff? The researchers exchanged confused glances. Tuesday stuff? A near-fatal plasma wound was just another routine occurrence. Jin Ho, The team's scout, pulled up his sleeve, revealing a network of scars that told stories of impossible survival. This one, he pointed to a massive burn scar. Volcanic rescue mission, lost 3 layers of skin, was back on duty in a week. Another soldier, Sung Min, nodded. I broke both legs during a mountain rescue, walked out on my own 2 days later. The alien researchers were stunned. What they were hearing wasn't bragging, it was casual conversation. These humans treated near-fatal injuries like minor inconveniences. Dr. Lee dug deeper. Do all humans respond this way? Jay's team laughed. Not a mocking laugh, but a genuine burst of shared understanding. It's how we're raised, Dae-sung explained. Our parents, our training, our entire culture is about pushing through. On Earth, giving up is worse than the injury itself. The cultural investigation revealed something profound. Human survival wasn't just biological, it was psychological. Their bodies were exceptional, but their minds were extraordinary. Stories began to flow. Mountain climbers completing expeditions with broken bones. Firefighters rescuing people while critically injured. Soldiers continuing missions despite seemingly impossible obstacles. We don't have a word for can't, Jinho said simply. We have not yet, and I'll find a way. The researchers realized they were witnessing more than a medical phenomenon. This was an entire cultural approach to existence. Survival wasn't just about physical capability. It was a mindset. A way of looking at challenges that saw obstacles as temporary inconveniences rather than permanent barriers. Dr. Lee's notes filled rapidly. Each story was a data point revealing a complex cultural system of resilience. Humans didn't just survive, they transformed survival into an art form. Our grandparents told stories, Sung Min continued, about wars, about migrations, about overcoming impossible conditions. We grew up believing that no challenge is truly impossible. The alien researchers began to understand. This wasn't just about physical healing. This was about a species that fundamentally refused to accept defeat. Jay, typically quiet, shared a simple story. My grandmother crossed 3 countries during a conflict, carried her entire family. No food, limited resources. She never considered stopping. Each story added another layer to the complex human puzzle. Their biology was adaptive. Their psychology was transformative. The medical team realized they were looking at something unprecedented. A species that didn't just survive. A species that redefined the very concept of survival. Most species avoid danger, one researcher noted. Humans seem to run towards it, then figure out how to overcome it. Jay's team nodded. This wasn't heroism. This was simply how they understood the world. As the interview concluded, Dr. Lee understood something profound. The plasma wound, the incredible healing, the casual approach to near-fatal injuries. These weren't exceptions. They were the rule. Humans weren't just a species. They were a living testament to adaptation, resilience, and an unbreakable spirit. One more question, Dr. Lee asked. Aren't you ever scared? The entire unit looked at each other and laughed. Not a dismissive laugh, but a laugh that said everything and nothing. Fear is a choice, Jay said simply. Survival is a decision. The researchers knew their report would change everything. They had discovered more than a medical marvel. They had glimpsed the soul of humanity. The Galactic conference hall fell silent. Representatives from thousands of star systems watched as Dr. Hana Lee presented her findings about human biology and resilience. On the massive holographic display, J. Park's medical scans told a story that would change everything. This is not just a medical report, Dr. Lee began. This is a revelation about the most adaptable species we've ever encountered. Alien diplomats shifted uncomfortably. Humans had been a relatively new addition to the galactic community, but they were quickly becoming something more than just another species. The Orion biochemists had spent months analyzing every cellular detail. The Xylaxian medical research teams had reconstructed the incident hundreds of times. Military strategists from across the galaxy, studied the data with a mixture of fear and fascination. One plasma wound had become a window into an entire species' potential. Humans don't just survive, Dr. Lee explained. They transform survival into an art form. The holographic display showed cellular regeneration processes that defied everything known about biological systems. Where other species would require months of intensive care, humans could heal critical injuries in days. Their metabolic systems worked like living computers, constantly adapting, constantly improving. Representatives from the Galactic Peacekeeping Council leaned forward. Military strategists began to understand why humans were becoming such valuable allies and potentially dangerous opponents. Dr. Krell, the lead Zelaxian researcher, presented additional findings. Their psychological resilience matches their biological capabilities. These are not just physical adaptations. This is a species-wide survival mechanism. Video footage played, humans completing missions under conditions that would kill most species, rescue operations in extreme environments, military campaigns that defied logical possibility. Each clip told a story of impossible survival. The conference hall became a classroom, a lecture about the most remarkable species in galactic history. They come from a planet called Earth, Dr. Lee continued. A world so harsh, so unpredictable, that it forced an entire species to become masters of adaptation. Planetary maps showed Earth's extreme conditions, massive temperature variations, violent weather systems, constant environmental challenges, a planet that seemed designed to kill its inhabitants. Instead, humans thrived. Military representatives from various star systems began to recalculate their strategic assessments. Humans were no longer just another species to be categorized. They were a potential game-changer in galactic dynamics. Their medical potential is extraordinary, one researcher noted. Imagine medical technologies based on human cellular regeneration. We could revolutionize treatment for thousands of species. The implications went far beyond medical science. Humans represented a biological and cultural model of survival that challenged everything known about species development. Dr. Lee shared personal stories, not just medical data, but human experiences, stories of individuals overcoming impossible challenges, soldiers continuing missions despite critical injuries, rescue workers saving lives under impossible conditions. This is not about physical strength, she emphasized. This is about an unbreakable spirit. The galactic representatives understood something profound. Humans were more than a species. They were a living testament to adaptation, resilience, and potential. Diplomatic channels would change. Military strategies would be rewritten. Medical research would take entirely new directions, all because of one lieutenant, one plasma wound, one impossible survival story. As the presentation concluded, the conference hall erupted in a mix of conversations: fear, excitement, respect, curiosity. Jay Park, meanwhile, was probably somewhere wondering when he could get back to his next mission, completely unaware that he had just changed galactic understanding forever. Humans, Dr. Lee concluded, are not just another species. They are a reminder of what's possible when survival becomes more than just a biological function, when it becomes a choice, a culture, a way of life. The holographic display showed Jay's medical scans one last time, a testament to human potential, a window into a species that refused to be defined by limitations.